If you're like me, payroll, benefits, and compliance will give you a headache unless you've got Deal. Deal PEO makes hiring in the U.S. simple. And right now, just for being a You Should Know podcast listener, you can get up to 3 months free at deal.com/workdefined. That's DEEL.com/WRK define. This is Ryan Leary, and you are listening to the You Should Know podcast. We are live at Oracle AI World in Las Vegas. Hubert, I'm not sure about you, but I'm having a great time here. How about you?
Same here. Absolutely. Sitting here with you, I couldn't have dreamed of anything better than that.
He's already starting. This is going to be one of those shows.
Sorry.
Nobody.
Was I not supposed to do?
Because nobody ever says that. Say it again so my mom hears, because that's how this works.
I think your mom knows better than...
Yeah, she won't believe it. You know what? This is, I've been here for 2 days now, right? Mm-hmm. Probably same as everybody. But it's my first day down at the event. And I gotta say, the energy that I've run into at this event, significantly different than any event I've been to this year. And I've been to a lot of events this year, probably working on 15, way too many. What I'm finding, I'm curious to get your thoughts here, is people are here to learn. They're actually here to sit in sessions and learn, and they have a belief that they're actually going to solve real problems.
I agree with you, but I'm also here to meet people.
Yeah.
And some of them I know now for many years, and we come to this conference and we see each other, we meet once a year, exchange for new things we have implemented. But I think this year is different. It's not only the name of the conference, it's really different because everyone knows there is something coming that is so different than anything before that. And I think that is AI.
Hey, everybody. Got a quick question for you. Is your job easy, stress-free, and full of rainbows and sunshine every single day? Yeah, I'd say that's a big fat no. Hi, I'm David Noe, host of Speakeasy HR, presented by Payroll Partners, and proud to be part of the Work Defined community. Take a step down into my Speakeasy live on LinkedIn and YouTube, where we tackle HR and business challenges through raw, uncut, unfiltered conversations. This is HR like you've never heard it before. Bold, real, and full of practical takeaways. Real guests, bold insights, authentic conversations that drive change. Catch every episode on demand through your favorite podcast platform or all the content at speakeasyhr.com.
Because no one really knows how it will play out, but we all, even if you have just played around a little bit with it, it's just cool. You ask questions and suddenly you get answers.
Yeah.
And that's specifically in the HR space where we have a lot of work that could be done faster, quicker with AI. It's amazing.
Amen to that. Yeah. HR, I feel in HR has just been, I don't want to bag on HR because I live in HR, but I feel like we've always been behind the curve. And now we have a real, true opportunity to really get ahead here and do really good things for the employee population. So before we get too far, let's take a moment. Let's introduce yourself to the audience, what you're doing, and you're with Quest Diagnostics. So maybe tell us a little bit about your day-to-day.
Okay. I'm now since 5 years with Quest. I started in the middle of COVID. They sent me a laptop home, and then I started working from home. That was cool. What I'm doing there is really HR technology. I work in HR, have a nice team of about 15 people that work with me. What we are doing is really, on the one hand, rolling out new modules. Like now we are working on workforce management scheduling, also introducing new HR AI technology. He's taking a picture of me, just this, which hits me a bit, but that's good. Then the other thing is also, we have ongoing issues that we need to resolve. So it's both. It's something new, but also making sure that we improve every year a bit more.
Yeah. So one of the things that we wanted to talk about was how you are connecting the dots between technology, people, and outcomes.
I think the one thing that I really learned at Quest, because I worked before in finance, people are a bit different. It's more like people-centric in a way, and you have to, when you introduce something, it's more thinking about change management, and the technology is there too, and the change that comes with it. But how can we explain this technology to people and make their life easier in that way? Right. That is really an important aspect. And now, for example, everyone is used to read a PDF document to learn how to do something. So how do I get people from this PDF document that they, with the instructions, over here to ask questions? Now, the good thing with that is that actually is not new to them, because now on the internet, if they have a question, they don't use a search engine anymore. They ask a question. And the same should be the case in the company.
Yeah. When's the last time? Do you use search engines anymore? Like, do you just go to Google?
I use just Gemini and ask my question and get the right answers.
My kids don't even say Google it. Like, they don't even know what that means. And I mean, for edification for the audience, I have 18, 15, and 12-year-olds. And none of them say Google it.
He looks much younger than that he has.
I know.
18.
I get that a lot. It's my skin. If we were at a comedy show, true story. We were at a comedy show this last week or so, and somehow kids came up, and comedian, of course, picks on the bald guy, and
asked because you don't see him.
Yeah, it's me.
I said to him he should go to Turkey, but he doesn't listen.
Asked about the ages, and she said, "Oh, you have such perfect skin." I was like, "Well, I know you're talking about my wife, not me, but yeah." She said, "I look like younger," and I was like, "I like that." So where was I? Oh, Google. Yeah. So they don't even got me so far off here. So they don't even say Google it anymore, and I'm like, that's interesting, because like they're using ChatGPT. They don't use Gemini in school. Everything's Google in school, but they don't use Gemini. They use ChatGPT.
The cool thing is also you can argue with someone and convince them otherwise. It usually isn't so easy with other humans. But with Gemini, if Gemini is wrong, you can tell it, but I read that here, and it will accept that and will apologize, which is really nice.
Yeah.
But sometimes it's very strong in its argument.
Yeah.
Now, in the company, I mean, you don't have really an argument with our AI tools. It's more like asking a question. So what is this deduction on my Paystub?
Right.
Why did I make $2,000 this pay period and $2,005 last pay period? That is where you don't need to call a service center and ask the question. You can just ask our Paystub agent.
Yeah.
It will tell you that.
Yeah. Now, so what's your employee size at Quest?
It's 50,000.
Okay, so 50,000 people. So for visual here.
Actually, it's 56,000.
56,000. All right. 56,000. 6,000. It makes a difference. It makes a difference. It possibly does make a difference with this question.
Yeah.
So for visual to the audience, for a 56,000 person company, how many humans do you need in a call center to field those questions every day?
It's a bit difficult to answer, because some of them are level 2 or level 3. They are specialists for certain areas. It's not like just an agent that answers an incoming question. Sometimes there are bigger issues, like someone needs to go on long-term disability. How do they do that?
Right.
And so can't answer that directly. But the idea is really also that these agents have an easier life by also being able to getting their tickets resolved with the help of AI. So we use the HR help desk from Oracle, and we have a cool feature that summarizes the ticket itself, and that creates a very nice summary. What we now want to introduce is a live chat, and at the end of the live chat, when the agent closes the ticket, the AI will also create a small summary and create the HR help desk ticket. Because for us, our, let's say, KPI is really around how many help desk tickets do we have, how quickly are they resolved. That's specifically for the service center important.
Right. Now, is there a way to track in that process? Is there a way for you to track how happy the employee is with the outcome?
Mm-hmm. Because after each ticket is resolved, the employee gets an email and can fill out a survey whether they're happy with it or not. I mean, the issue is if the outcome is, let's say, the issue is resolved, but the employee is not happy because they didn't get what they wanted, then you have to take that into consideration.
Yeah. Is there a place where, and I know we can do this, but can we do this with the employee population? Can we measure the sentiment in the conversation itself to really get an idea of how the conversation went for both training purposes, but also, okay, the employee isn't happy, but it's only because, or potentially because, they weren't happy with the answer, which is the truth. The answer was the truth, but they're not happy with that outcome.
So we don't have that automated, but if an employee complains, then we will go through the whole email traffic, but more as a person does that, not an AI. But it's a good use case. I will definitely bring that up, and thank you for that, because also if you think of performance reviews, we have very often managers who write performance reviews, but then give a performance rating, which is low. But whatever they wrote is not in line with this performance rating.
Right.
So also here AI can help them directly and say, you need to write that a little bit different.
Right, right. So when you kicked off this transformation and you felt, okay, now's the time to make some changes. What was and you talked about it a bit, but maybe we'll go deeper. What was the biggest inefficiency? What did you want to tackle the most?
Mostly it's tasks that a manager has to spend a lot of time on, but actually doesn't need to, where we could free them up. So it's more like every employee needs a performance review, but you could actually summarize performance reviews based on prior notes that the manager wrote down and then get it automated. And the manager gives a couple of inputs to a prompt and automatically the performance review is created, which is much better than the manager sitting there for hours and thinking around, how can I do that?
Yeah.
So insofar, it's this kind of efficiency and freeing up the manager for more of this human interaction with their employees.
Yeah.
Because some of our supervisors, they have 30 employees reporting to them. And the more we can automate any of those tasks where this human interaction is not really needed, then absolutely, let's go for it.
Yeah, and so now what do you say? So I like the performance review use case because I think that's an area where human involved introduces a lot of bias in the performance review, even though they're the ones making the notes and they have their own human bias in that process. And so if I'm getting an annual review and something happened in February, that was great. Maybe the manager just doesn't remember that, even though they made notes. They don't necessarily historically have gone back and read every piece of their notes. It's first in, last out type thing, where it's December. If I was awful in November, I had a bad November, my performance review is going to be skewed negative.
That is absolutely correct.
Yeah.
Also, if you have other, let's say, sources for the performance of the employee, let's say you take accomplishments into account or appraisals from other employees that come year around. So a program like, celebrations that Oracle has, where other employees can acknowledge the accomplishments of their colleagues. That can also help. Or you have a 360 and get all of this information in one place. Then as a manager, you see everything and you forgot about this one thing that happened in November. Absolutely.
And if a manager has 30 people, like you were saying, I mean, that's a lot of time.
Yeah.
putting together any type of review.
And another thing that we are going to do is rolling out a full scheduling tool from Oracle, also Oracle Workforce Scheduling, because it takes also a lot of time to create schedules for employees every week.
Yeah.
So you need to think of who is on vacation, who's on PTO, and that will also help managers.
Yeah.
The other thing, I think it will also help employees because the call-out procedure is much easier. They can swap a shift with someone else. I mean, I don't think that we will ever be there that employees will pick their own shift. I'm not sure about that. May not.
Why not? I mean, it's interesting. Shift scheduling, and I've experienced with it from following and studying the technology, but also my two of my daughters work where they have shifts, and they just use an app. They say, here's my availability for the week. They can't pick their shifts. Here's my availability, but they can shift swap without the manager being involved.
That is correct, but some of our areas, it wouldn't work for them.
Well, sure, they're lifeguards.
Yeah,
very different than what you're doing.
Yeah. So I mean, insofar because we have specialists for certain areas,
right?
Or you have to be trained, you have to have certain credentials, and you don't have a lot of them.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So insofar, it's a bit different, but at least it will help, on the one hand, the supervisor to schedule because all the absences and everything is easily available and will be taken into consideration for the creation of the schedule by the tool. On the other hand, I think it will also help, let's say, if something happens on a day that the employee can easier swap out the shift without bothering the manager because the employee can pick these employees that are available and they will be notified about it.
Right, and a little different because different industry, but one of the things that I've noticed is when we have hourly workers or frontline workers, retail, and any of those situations, managers making their schedule, they tend to skew towards people they prefer on the shift at a certain time. And what we're finding is the more that happens, the more upset employees get because they don't have a schedule that's conducive to their schedule. Technology fixes that for them. It also allows them to, to swap, and all of that good stuff. But I'm curious to run this question by you. Where are you seeing, or have you noticed a shift in engagement since you've been putting all of this into play?
As we only have a very small group at the moment, we will roll out to about 15,000 people next year. Then I could answer this question in a better way. At the moment, it's more like assumptions that I make. So they are not really fair. So I keep them better for me.
They're not scientific.
Exactly.
Yeah. So all right. So the idea of engagement from, and this is maybe not necessarily for Quest, but more just in general, with the prospect of where we go next year. We're back here next year. We're talking next year. From what you know of now, your engagement levels, or from where employees are happy in the business, or maybe not happy in the business, where does that shift for you next year? If we're here next year talking, is there a measurable difference that you're like, this is going to work?
So we do regular employee surveys every quarter, and I will be able to answer that next year, whether we impact them in a positive way or not. So with all the automation that we drive out, getting rid of routine tasks and allowing supervisors to concentrate more on specific tasks that help with human interaction. That's something we will definitely see more next year. But over time, I think it's also a thing of company culture, of your leaders. If you invest time in them so that they understand the values of the company, and then they can also easier live these values together with their employees.
Yeah, is there room for, and I know there's room for learning, but bringing this in from a learning perspective for people who are frontline?
Definitely. Also, we have also programs in that way. Also, just repeating our values and making sure that everyone understands them, and not only be able to repeat them, but also being able to live them. Yeah. Specifically, when you're in healthcare, it's very important what you do and how important it is for the next person. So any test that we can run faster means for the patient to know quicker, is this now a benign or a non-benign problem? And insofar, if everyone in this chain of being working in a patient service center, drawing blood to the person who transports the sample to the lab that looks at the sample, to understand that is really something. And what I learned in these 5 years that I'm working with Quest, everyone knows that, because healthcare is very, very different, very much into we are here to help each of us, and specifically the people that come to us and use our services. Also, that's really something which is very different to any other industry that I worked in before.
Yeah, turns out healthcare is important, payroll is important, and scheduling is important. And those are the three things, right? Yep. That we can't really screw up if we want to have happy employees and patients, safe patients. So, Hubert, thank you very much for sitting with me today. It was fun.
Despite me being German, and we Germans know that we are not funny people.
Yeah, I think you're very funny. I knew something was coming. I was gonna say, now I have footage and audio, so I can see him smiling in the video. In two places, I can see you here and there. I can now have audio and footage to say that I sat down with Hubert. It's a pleasure. I appreciate it.
Thank you.